What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, what's up? So let me pull up this article. Okay, screen share. Okay, and boom. Okay, we're here. All right. Okay, this article is from theatlantic.com. And once again, this is another article that I'm about to read to you guys concerning the public education system and a negative impact that it has on its boys in the United States. Now, I made a prior video specifically speaking about how so-called black boys are performing worse or having a worse experience within the public education system than any other uh than any other demographic of students. But in this article, it speaks about how boys in America collectively are performing worse than females collectively in public education. And the reasons to this and the things that the writer of this article, whose name is Christina Hoff Summers, what she points out is certain things that happen within the education system systematically that has an influence on why boys currently are performing worse academically than female students. And this across all racial lines. Male students in the US public education system across all racial lines are collectively performing worse than female students across all racial lines. So the problem within the US education system is not only black boys that's doing bad, it's boys across all racial lines. So this is serious. What's going on? What's going on, Black Curls? What's up? Shalom. Black Curl says, I already see male schools being part of the solution. Uh Depending, I'll just read the article and you can find out for yourself. Okay, so the title of this article, which is the same as the title of this video, How to Make School Better for Boys. Start by acknowledging that boys are languishing while girls are succeeding. Once again, written by Christina Hoff Summers. The date is September 3rd. The date that this article was written or edited or posted on the Atlantic was September 13th, 2013. So that's about 7.5 years ago. But although this article was written about around 7 years ago, but the information that's specified in this article still applies to the thing that's going on today. So let me read. Oh yeah, and of course I got the link. I got the link to this article on the video description box underneath. Just in case if anyone is interested in reading the article for themselves, in which I believe you should. But moving along. Okay, the article says this. I recently appeared on MSNBC's The Cycle to discuss the new edition of my book, The War Against Boys. The four hosts were having none of it. A war on boys, they counter with the wage gap, and the prominence of men across the professions. One of them concluded, I don't think the patriarchy is under any threat. So this female who wrote this article also wrote a book called The War on Boys. And when she appeared on an MSNBC panel to speak about it, you already had the hosts, according to the beginning of this article, disagreeing with her, although this writer did extensive research on the education system and on the American system at hand and how boys are negatively impacted. But you know, like the majority of society, the host of the show was already disagreeing without even taking the time to research the information themselves. But moving right along, the MSNBC skeptics are hardly alone in dismissing the plight of boys and young men. Even those who acknowledge that boys are losing in school argue that they're winning in life. But the facts are otherwise. American boys across the ability spectrum are struggling in the nation's schools, with teachers and administrators failing to engage their specific interests and needs. This neglect has ominous implications not only for the boys' social and intellectual development, but for the national economy, as policy analysts are just beginning to calculate. As As the United States moves toward a knowledge based economy, school achievement has become the cornerstone of lifelong success. And this is what the Black Brain Trust be talking about when they speak about the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution is mainly based around a knowledge based economy, and education will play a big part. Education or training for this knowledge based economy is going to play a big part whether people succeed or not succeed uh, economically. And when you have boys that's collectively doing bad in the fields of education, that's going to take a toll on the economy and on their personal and on their personal economics as well. But moving right along, women are adapting, men are not. Yet the education establishment and federal government are, with some notable exceptions, looking the other way. Women in the United States now earn 62% of associate's degrees, 57% of bachelor's degrees, 60% of master's degrees, and 52% of doctorates. Wow. College admissions, college admission officers were at first baffled, then concerned, and finally panicked over the dearth of male applicants. If male enrollment falls to 40% or below, female students begin to flee. Officials at schools at or near the tipping point. American University, Boston University, Brandeis University, New York University, the University of Georgia, and the University of North Carolina, to name a few, are helplessly watching as their campuses become like retirement villages, with a sure fit of women competing for a handful of surviving men. Henry Broadus, Dean of Admissions at William and Mary, explains the new anxiety. Women who enroll expect to see men on campus. It's not the College of Mary and Mary, it's the College of William and Mary. Wow. So even in colleges in I mean in in top-notch colleges like American University, Boston University, these are excellent colleges. New York University, I think NYU is an Ivy League school. New York University, University of Georgia, University of North Carolina, they seeing their they're seeing the population of students dwindle because as there's less male students going to college and more female students going to college, the female students not seeing enough men on college campuses, they're deciding to leave college. So altogether, a lot of these colleges are negatively impacted without enough men in these colleges. But the question is, what is causing? What's the reason why there aren't enough male students applying and going to college? On. Boys in all ethnic groups and social classes are far less likely than their sisters to feel connected to school, to earn good grades, or to have high academic aspirations. A recent working paper from the National Bureau of Economic Research documents a remarkable trend among high achieving students. In the 1980s, nearly the same number of top male and female high school students said they plan to pursue a postgraduate degree. 13% of boys and 15% of girls. By the 2000s, 27% of girls expressed that ambition, compared with 16% of boys. During the same period, the gap between girls and boys earning mostly A's nearly doubled, from 3 to 5 percentage points. Wow. Mm. So we're saying in this article that over the years that you have an overwhelmingly more female high school graduates who plan to get a postgraduate degree or a graduate degree after they finish college or undergrad. Yeah. Moving right along. This gap in education engagement has dire economic consequences for boys. A 2011 Brookings Institution report quantifies the economic decline of the median male. For men ages 25 to 64 with no high school diploma, median annual earnings have declined 66% since 1969. For men with only a high school diploma, wages declined by 47%. Millions of male workers, say the Brookings authors, unhinged from the engine of growth. Millions, excuse me, let me reread that sentence. Millions of male workers, say the Brookings authors, have been unhitched from the engine of growth. Woo! So a lot of male employees have not have not entered or experienced their careers or their jobs growing into much more high earning positions. Moving right along. The College Board delivered this disturbing message in a 2011 report about Hispanic and African American boys and young adults. Nearly half of young men of color aged 15 to 24 who graduate from high school will end up unemployed, incarcerated, or dead. Working class white boys are faring only slightly better. When economist Andrew Sum and his colleagues at the Center for Labor Market Studies at Northeastern University examined gender disparities in the Boston public schools, they found that for the class of 2007, among blacks and Hispanics, there were 186 females for every 100 males attending a 4-year college or university. For white students, 153 females to every 100 males. So, as you can see, the academic issue when it comes to so-called black boys and Hispanic boys is not far apart from the academic issues of so-called white boys. Yeah. So, like I said before, the academic issue amongst boys within the US public education system goes across racial lines, with Caucasian male students just doing a little bit better than male students of color, but still are doing way worse than their female counterparts. But moving right along, what can we do to improve the prospects of boys? For one thing, we must acknowledge that boys and girls are different in many education and government circles. Now, mind you, this is a female who wrote this, all right? And she even acknowledged that males and females are different biologically, mentally. So there's differences in each gender, which goes against this feminist propaganda. But moving right along, in many education and government circles, it remains taboo to broach the topic of sex differences. Like I just said, many gender scholars insist that the sexes are cognitively interchangeable and argue that any talk of difference only encourages sexism and stereotyping. That's the feminist approach, or the left wing approach, or the extreme liberal approach. Okay, as I continue reading, okay, in the current environment, to speak of difference invites opprobrium, and to advocate for male specific interventions invites passionate and organized opposition. Meanwhile, one gender difference refuses to go away. Boys are languishing academically, while girls are soaring. Young men in Great Britain, Australia, and Canada have also fallen behind. But in stark contrast to the United States, those countries are energetically, even desperately looking for ways to help boys improve. Why? They view widespread male underachievement as a national threat. Woo! A country with too many languishing males risks losing its economic edge. So these nations have established dozens of boy focused commissions, task forces, and working groups. Yet we're supposed to be the best country in the world, right? We're supposed to be uh, the most quote unquote advanced country in the world. Yet America, even still, I mean, this article was written in 2013. Now it's 2021. And still, a lot of people within America still have this, there's no differences in the sexes type of way of thinking, which which does not heal this issue when it comes to male underachievement, when it comes to the fields of academics, when it comes to academia or academics. But yet, like the article states, other countries, boys in other countries, Great Britain, Australia, and Canada, they've had the same problems as boys in the United States, but at least the governments in these countries are taking the initiatives to trying to solve this issue because, unlike the United States of America, right, the governments of these countries acknowledge that it's going to be uh, um it's going to be a liability to their economics if they have a large amount of males just not doing well in school. That means that there'll be less males that'll be college educated, which means that there'll be less males fit to be in the role of these top white collar jobs that's basically needed in these countries. There'll be less men working in fields of government. There'll be less men working in fields of medicine. There'll be less men working in other scientific fields. There'll be less men qualified to work in fields of technology. And these are places where men are needed the most. I'm not saying that women are not needed there, but men who are historically known for being the best inventors, the the most innovative and uh, the most innovative thinkers, and people who are known, and men for the most part are the ones who change society for the better and advance society with their inventions, because men were built to create. And governments in these other countries have an understanding of that, and they believe and they understand that if men are not put in positions where they're qualified to be in positions where they can be innovative, when they can help change society, then that's going to be bad for their whole entire countries. But guess what? The United States of America is still not acknowledging that for the most part. How many people are in here? Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Jersey Hammer, what's up? What's up, Jersey Hammer? What's up, Wagner? What's up, guys? What's up, Mosman? Mosman, what's going on? All right, so let me continue to the article. Let me continue reading the article. Okay. Young men in Great Britain, Australia, and Canada have also fallen behind. But in stark, okay, I know I read this already, but I'll read it again. But in stark contrast to the United States, these countries are energetically, even desperately looking for ways to help boys improve. Why? They view widespread male underachievement as a national threat. A country with too many language males risks losing its economic edge. So these nations have established dozens of boy-focused commissions, task forces, and working groups, using evidence and not ideology as their guide. Officials in these countries don't hesitate to recommend sex-specific solutions. The British Parliamentary Boys Reading Commission urges every teacher should have an up-to-date knowledge of reading material that will appeal to disengaged boys. A Canadian report on improving boys' literacy recommends active classrooms that capitalize on the boys' spirit of competition, games, contests, debates. An Australian study found that adolescent males across racial and socioeconomic lines shared a common complaint. School doesn't offer the courses that most boys want to do. mainly courses and coursework that prepare them for employment. Uh, Sumitra Rajagopalan, an, an adjunct professor of biomechanics at Canada's McGill University, developed a program for disengaged teenage boys in Montreal, where 1 in 3 male students drops out of high school. The male students she met were bored by their classroom instruction and starved for hands on activities. She was shocked to find that many had never held a hammer or a screwdriver. Under her supervision, the boys built a solar driven Stirling engine from Coca Cola cans and straws. Boys are born thinkers, she said, which go alongside what I just said. They have a deep seated need to rip things apart, decode their inner workings, and create stuff. Rahagopalan's insight is supported by a large body of research showing that, taken as a group, men prefer working with things and women prefer working with people. Of course, there are female thinkers who like to work with things and gladly enter occupations such as pipe fitting and metallurgy. But the number of men eager to enter these fields is substantially greater. Women still predominate, sometimes overwhelmingly, in empathy centered fields such as early childhood education, social work, veterinary medicine, and psychology, while men prevail in the mechanical vocations such as car repair, oil drilling, and electrical engineering, which is true. In a lot of these blue collar positions, it's mostly dominated by males because, like the article says, males have much more of an interest of being hands on. Going right along, young men may be a vanishing breed on the college campus, but there are some colleges that have no trouble attracting them. Schools whose names include the letters TECH, Georgia Tech, is 68% male. Rochester Institute of Technology, 68%. South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, 74%. This affinity pattern points to one highly promising strategy for reconnecting boys with school: vocational education, now called Career and Technical Education, CTE, which is the acronyms. In a rare example of academic establishment, taking note of boys' trouble in school, the Harvard Graduate School of Education recently published a major study, Pathways to Prosperity, which is the title of that study, that highlights the yawning gender gap in education favoring women. Our system clearly does not work well for many, especially young men. The authors call for a national revival of vocational education in secondary schools. They cite several existing programs that could serve as a model for national reform, including the Massachusetts system, sometimes called the Cadillac of career training education. Hmm. Massachusetts. If Mike V's watching this, I'm sure he can verify this. Massachusetts has a network of 26 academically rigorous vocational technical high schools serving 27,000 male and female students. Student in magnet schools such as Worcester Technical, Madison Park Technical Vocational, and Blackstone Valley Regional Vocational Technical take traditional academic courses but spend half of their time apprenticing in a field of their choice. These include computer repair, telecommunications networking, carpentry, early childhood education, plumbing, heating, refrigeration, and cosmetology. As Pathways reports, these schools have some of the state's highest graduation and matriculation rates, and close to 96% pass the state's rigorous high stakes graduation test. Blackstone Valley Tech in Upton, Massachusetts, should be studied by anyone looking for solutions to the boy problem. It is working wonders with girls, who comprise 44% of the student body, but its success with boys is astonishing. According to a white paper on vocational education by the Commonwealth's Pioneer Institute, 1 in 4 Valley Technical students enter their freshman year with a fourth grade reading level. The school immerses these students in an intense, individualized remediation program until they read proficiently at grade level. These potentially disaffected students put up with remediation as well as a full load of college preparatory courses, including honors and advanced placement classes, because otherwise they could not spend half the semester apprenticing in diesel mechanics, computer repair, or automotive engineering. In former times, vocational high schools were often dumping grounds for low achievers. Today in Massachusetts, they are launching pads into the middle class. Mm. So this school in Massachusetts, Blackstone Valley Tech, trained a lot of his kids who just entered the school with the fourth grade reading level to the point that they could actually read at proficient grade levels and take college courses or college preparatory courses, excuse me. So, and this including is male and female students that enter this school. So, going along, reading along. In former times, oh, I read this already. Okay. Well, I'll read it again. Fuck it. In former times, vocational high schools were often dumping grounds for low achievers. Today in Massachusetts, they are launching pads into the middle class. Recent research shows that enrollment in high school vocational programs has dramatic effects on students' likelihood of graduating from high school, especially boys. But efforts to engage more boys in career and technical programs face a formidable challenge. In a series of scathing reports, the National Council on Women and Girls Education, aka Feminists, a 38-year-old consortium that they includes heavy hitters such as AAW, National, whatever, has condemned high school vocational training schools as hotbeds of sex segregation. Because of decades of successful lobbying by the NCWGE groups, high school and college career and technical training programs face government of funds if they fail to recruit and graduate sufficient numbers of female students into non-traditional fields. Over the years, untold millions of state and federal dollars have been devoted to recruiting and retaining young women into fields like pipe fitting, automotive repair, construction, drywall installing, manufacturing, and refrigeration mechanics. But according to Statute, a University of Virginia workforce blog, these efforts at vocational equity haven't had much of an impact, despite an unfathomable number of girl focused programs and interventions. Technical and manual occupations tend to be dominated by men, patterns that have held steady for many years. So, there, there have been examples of how schools that focus on vocational and technical programs have been successful in graduating its male students and even preparing its male to the point of fact that they could read proficiently at grade and to be and has a overwhelmingly high graduation rates of both its male and female students. But then you have the feminists, okay, specifically the National Council on Women and Girls Education, who try to fight back against a lot of schools having these vocational technical programs, claiming that these schools having these vocational technical programs are basically being misogynistic or what they claim promoting gender segregation. So see, this is what these new age third to fourth wave feminists, this is what they are. Even though these third to fourth wave feminists, we have to work together in freaking destroying them politically, because these people, these third to fourth wave feminists do not care on, it seems as if they don't care on how bad these young boys in America are doing academically. They don't care how certain strategies or certain types of education, such as technical and vocational studies or programs, have helped to a degree, alleviate the poor academic performances of its male students. What they care about is is females having an advantage in every area of people activity, including education, no matter how bad its male population is being negatively impacted by it. So, some people say that we can't win against a war against feminists. Fuck that. We we in a position now as men. We're in a position in which we have no choice but to do what it takes to fight these feminists politically in order to have some sort of counterbalance between males and females. Because if we don't try, if we don't try, then the poor academic performances of a lot of male students are going to just increase. As this article, and mind you, once again, this is a female who wrote this article, a Caucasian female, right? And the article also specifies that one big reason that boys are performing bad in a lot of public schools in the United States is because they're not engaged in the curriculum, because the curriculum it boys in position, or male students, curriculums that piques their interest, such as vocational programs or technical programs or STEM programs. You see, or there's even examples of this in which these boys excel. They excel and they perform at a high level. You know, let me see some of your comments. Uh, what's going on, Azure Saint? What's going on? All right. Oh, yo, damn. Yo, how long was I talking before? Yo, how long was I talking before I got cut off, man? Hold on. I think I'm still online, right? Listen, I was talking for a while. I was talking for a while. I just realized that I got cut off. Damn, man, I was making so much. Hold on. Yo, 10 minutes? I was going for 10 minutes. Hold on for a minute. I'll be right back. All right. I'll be right back, guys. Hold on. Oh man. Yo, did y'all okay. Did y'all was I still online when I finished reading the article? Because I kept on speaking and then I just found out that I was cut off. Okay, okay. Black Girl says I was going for 10 minutes. Wadden says I was going for 7 minutes. Okay. Damn. Yeah, yeah, I thought y'all was hearing me. Yeah, Black Girls. I thought y'all was hearing me. Yo, but did y'all oh shoot, I was shouting out the chat. So you know what that means I wasn't done reading the okay, y'all didn't hear me. Okay. That means the final half of the article, y'all didn't get to hear me finish it. Damn. I was saying a lot of good stuff too. Let me dang. All right. All right. So I have to reread the last few paragraphs of the article. Dang, it just cut me off just like that. Damn. Okay, let me. Oh shit. Okay. So you know what? I'm gonna go. Okay. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start from right here. Maybe y'all heard it. Maybe y'all heard it right, but I'm gonna go start from right here, and yeah, I'm gonna start reading from right here. All right. So I'm going back to the article, The Atlantic, because y'all didn't hear me. Y'all didn't get a chance to see me finish the article. So I'll go back to reading this article from The Atlantic. And once again, the link to this article is in the video description box underneath this video. For those of you guys who are interested in reading this on your own. Okay, so I'm going to read. Okay. Rahul Gopalan's insight is supported by, okay, no, I'm going to go, okay. Sumitra Rajagopalan, an adjunct professor of biomechanics at Canada's McGill University, developed a program for disengaged teenage boys in Montreal, where 1 in 3 male students drops out of high school. The male students she met were bored by their classroom instruction and starved for hands on activities. She was shocked to find that many had never held a hammer or screwdriver. Under her supervision, the boys built a solar driven Stirling engine from Coca Cola cans and straws. Boys are born thinkers, she said. They have a deep seated need to rip things apart, decode their inner workings, and create stuff. And like I said before, I don't know if you guys heard me when I said that uh, males are born innovators and born inventors and born thinkers. Well, I didn't say, I said they're thinkers. They're very, males are made to be very innovative. Males are made to be very creative, which is why it'll be bad for entire economy for scores and scores or hundreds and thousands of boys to underperform academically. Thus, they would not be qualified to work in positions where boys' creativity and ingenuity is needed to help a society go further. And countries like Canada, Great Britain, and Australia recognize this because they have the same problem with boys underachieving in education. Thus, there's policies in place and for to actually alleviate this issue. But the United States so far don't have a lot of programs. They don't have like government policies in place to alleviate this issue. So this professor in Canada who had a program for high school boys who are disengaged in their curriculum. These boys went from disengaged, bored students who most likely perform poor academically to then created a damn engine out of Coca-Cola cans, which shows you the greatness of boys and men if they're put in an environment that supports that truly supports them and back them up. And this professor understands that. Okay. Rahul Gopalan's insight. I'm gonna continue. I'm going to continue the article. Okay. Rahul Gopalan's insight is supported by a large body of research showing that, taken as a group, men prefer working with things and women prefer working with people. Of course, there are female thinkers who like to work with things. Oh, excuse me, no, tinkerers, excuse me. Of course, there are female tinkerers who like to work with things and gladly enter occupations such as pipe fitting and metallurgy. But the number of men eager to enter these fields is substantially greater. Women still predominate, sometimes overwhelmingly, in empathy centered fields such as early childhood education, social work, veterinary medicine, and psychology, while men prevail in the mechanical vocations such as car repair, oil drilling, and electrical engineering. Young men may be a vanishing breed on the college campus, but there are some colleges that have no trouble attracting them. Schools whose names include the letters TECH. Georgia Tech is 68% male. Rochester Institute of Technology is 68% male. South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, 74% male. This affinity pattern points to one highly promising strategy for reconnecting boys with school: vocational education, now called career and technical education, CTE for short. In a rare example of the academic establishment taking note of boys' trouble in school, the Harvard Graduate School of Education recently published a major study, Pathways to Prosperity, that highlights the yawning gender gap in education favoring women. Our system clearly does not work well for many, especially young men. The authors call for a national revival of vocational education in secondary schools. They cite several existing programs that could serve as a model for national reform, including the Massachusetts system, sometimes called the Cadillac of career training education. Massachusetts has a network of 26 academically rigorous vocational technical high schools serving 27,000 male and female students. Hold on, let me go. Oh, I was busy reading your comments, but I'll go on. Okay, Massachusetts has a network of 26 academically rigorous vocational and technical high schools serving 27,000 male and female students. Students in magnet schools such as Worcester Technical, Madison Park Technical Vocational, and Blackstone Valley Regional Vocational Technical take traditional academic courses but spend half their time apprenticing in a field of their choice. These include computer repair, telecommunications networking, carpentry, early childhood education, plumbing, heating, refrigeration, and cosmetology. As Pathways reports, these schools have some of the state's highest graduation and college matriculation rates, and close to 96% pass the state's rigorous high stakes graduation tests. So, this study that was presented by Harvard Graduate School of Education, like the article says, they said that in order to alleviate the issue of underachieving male students in the public education system, they should present a nationwide policy for so every public school system nationwide could have a vocational or technical program, because it's been proven in Massachusetts, the home of Harvard University, that schools that have a vocational and technical program have a higher chance of graduating its male students, and have a greater chance of having male students achieve in the fields of education. As the study points out, the 26 vocational technical high schools in Massachusetts having some of the highest graduation rates of male and female students in the whole entire state. Okay, so as I'm going to continue reading, Blackstone Valley Tech in Upton, Massachusetts, should be studied by anyone looking for solutions to the boy problem. It is working wonders with girls, who comprise 44% of the student body, but its success with boys is astonishing. According to a white paper on vocational education by the Commonwealth's Pioneer Institute, 1 in 4 Valley Technical students enter their freshman year with a fourth grade reading level. The school immerses these students in an intense individualized remediation program until they read proficiently at grade level. These potentially disaffected students put up with remediation as well as a full load of college preparatory courses, including honors and advanced placement classes, because otherwise they could not spend half of the semester apprenticing in diesel mechanics, computer repair, or automotive engineering. In former times, vocational high schools were often dumping grounds for the low achievers. Today, in Massachusetts, there are launching pads into the middle class. So, according to this a paragraph in this article, there's a technical high school in Massachusetts, a specific called Blackstone Valley Tech, who have 25% of its students, 1 in 4 students, 25, basically a quarter of its students who enter the high school in their freshman year having a fourth grade reading level, and put these same students in programs where they end up reading proficiently. Thus, there are examples and evidence of these vocational and technical programs in high schools being a big factor in helping its male students achieve academically. So, moving on, recent research shows that enrollment in high school vocational programs has dramatic effects on students' likelihood of graduating from high school, especially boys. But efforts to engage more boys in career and technical programs face a formidable challenge. In a series of scathing reports, the National Council on Women and Girls Education has condemned high school vocational training schools as hotbeds of sex segregation. Oh boy, Here come the feminists. The National Council on Women and Girls Education, aka the NCWGE, that's just another. That's just an organization of feminists. Okay, moving right along. Because of decades of successful lobbying by the National Council of Women and Girls Education Groups, high school and college career and technical training programs face government sanctions and loss of funds if they fail to recruit and graduate sufficient number of female students into non-traditional fields. Over the years, untold millions of state and federal dollars have been devoted to recruiting and retaining young women into fields like pipe fitting, automotive repair, construction, drywall installing, manufacturing, and refrigeration mechanics. But according to a stat chat, a University of Virginia workforce blog, these efforts at vocational equity haven't had much of an impact, despite an unfathomable number of girl focused programs and interventions. Technical and manual occupations tend to be dominated by men, patterns that have held steady for many years. In March 2013, the NCWGE released a report urging the need to fight even harder against barriers girls and women face in entering non traditional fields. Among its 9 key recommendations to Congress, more federal funding and challenge grants to help states close the gender gaps in career and technical education, mandate every state to install a CTE or career technical education gender equity coordinator, and impose harsher punishments on states that fail to meet performance measures, i.e., gender quotas. Instead of spending millions of dollars attempting to transform aspiring cosmetologists into welders, education officials should concentrate on helping young people, male and female, enter careers that interest them. And right now, boys are the underserved population requiring attention. So, uh, you you guys see, as you can see, what the as you can see what these the National Council on Women and Girls Education, aka the third and fourth way feminists, what they're doing. They trying to throw a monkey wrench into helping male students, proficient male students improve in academics by trying to stop by punishing states. Excuse me, I would not say trying to stop, but by lobbying lobbying politicians into not giving states enough funding for its high schools to have vocational technical programs unless if it's able to include a certain amount of females who are in these programs and succeeding in these programs. Other than that, the National Council of Women's and Girls Education, the NCWGE, will view technical and vocational programs in high schools to be quote unquote an example of gender segregation. So if these states don't meet the quotas in including enough female students in vocational technical programs, the feminists have something in place for so different states won't receive enough funding to help have more of these technical programs in their schools. But here's the problem. The problem is that not enough female students are interested in entering vocational technical programs. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, there are a certain amount of females who are interested and who apply for these programs, but not enough of them are, which is why these types of programs and these types of fields out there in the workforce are dominated by males, because these are things like vocational programs and technical programs are things that mostly males are interested in. So females are not really interested in these things. So therefore, it's pretty hard to get a certain amount of female students to enter these programs. Thus, if there's not enough females to enter these programs, Thus, a lot of states in the United States won't receive funding from the federal government in order to keep these programs operating for so its male students who are mostly interested in entering these fields can have a chance at succeeding in high schools. So you see what the setup is? You see how these feminists set shit up? They set shit up. See, they don't care about how poor these male students or boys are doing in school. What they care about is having a level of control in every aspect, in almost every aspect of society, or else if they don't have this control, they're going to yell discrimination or gender discrimination or gender segregation, whatever the fuck that means. Even though it's proven that females are not doing bad academically, it's the males that's doing bad academically. So even if there's not enough females that enter these vocational technical programs, female students in America will still do good, statistically speaking, academically. It's the male students that are across all racial lines that are performing poorly academically. And it's been proven, especially in the state of Massachusetts, that when you have enough of its male students who are in vocational and technical programs, that they'll have a higher chance in graduating high school and being prepared for the workforce and or college in their future, after graduation. But the feminists don't care about that. They try to throw a monkey wrench in that shit, which is fucked up. Yeah. What's up, Exposer? What's going on? And that's why that's why I always state that in the manosphere, whether it's the so-called black manosphere or just the manosphere in whole, we need to be more politically active in providing a counterbalance that would challenge this monkey wrench shit that these feminists are doing. Because this monkey wrenching by the feminists is destroying the educational future of a lot of boys in the United States. But moving right along. Okay. In the US, this is where I'm at. In the US, a powerful network of women's groups works ceaselessly to protect and promote what it sees as female interest, but there is no counterpart working for boys. They are on their own. See what I'm saying? Look. And remember, the person who wrote this article is a female, and she's admitting that there is no counterpart working for boys. They are on their own. So there is little to no body of people or entities working on the part of boys for boys can excel politically, economically, and socially in life. Especially in the manosphere, in which the manosphere was originally built for so men and boys can have a counterpart working in their favor to help alleviate the systematic mistreatment that they receive. Instead, in the manosphere, we're focused on Derek Jackson and his alleged affair. And I don't see why the manosphere is putting a lot of emphasis on that shit. I don't give a fuck about that. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it is true that this person cheated on his wife, then it's wrong. But at the end of the day, it's not affecting anybody but him, his wife, and their children. That's not affecting the collective of males and females in America. This what I'm showing you guys, that's something that's affecting a large group of males in America. Not this bullshit about Derek Jackson. I don't get why a lot of people within the so-called black manosphere put more focus on soap opera nonsense than something as important as this. Look what she said. There's no Listen, let me reread these sentences. In the US, a powerful network of women's groups work ceaselessly to protect and promote what is seized as female interests. But there is no counterpart working for boys. They are on their own. That is fucked up. That is fucked up to read some shit like that. Female have a powerful network of groups. Us, we just have an online network that complains about female sexual choices. We complain about the so-called 80-20 rule. See, we do see males, we do have a network, but the network is not working on protecting male interest. The network is not working on promoting male interest on a socio-political and economic level. This network that we have is focused on soap opera conflict. We're focused on roasting people. You know, we're focused on worrying about what Cynthia G is saying. We're focused on worrying about what Chrislyn Carson is saying. We're focused on worrying about what Derek Jackson and his side chicks are doing. We're not focused on important stuff like this. And as a result, guess what? Let me highlight, there's no counterpart working for boys. They are on their own. That's painful. That's painful to hear that there are a lot of young boys who are on their fucking own because they don't have any entity, or they might have very little, but really they don't have a real powerful global or nationwide entity that is working on their side to alleviate the systematic mistreatment that they receive. This is fucked up. You know? But let me continue in reading. Okay. This contrasts dramatically with constructive problem-solving approach of education leaders and government officials in Great Britain, Canada, and Australia. The British have their parliamentary toolkit of effective practices for educating boys, while Americans have the National Women's Law Center tools of the trade, using the law to address sex segregation in high school, career, and technical education. In other words, they have tools to help females when it comes to the fields of education, but not males. Not in America. The reluctance to face up to the boy gap is evident at every level of government. In Washington, President Obama, now former President Obama, established a White House Council on Women and Girls shortly after taking office in 2009, declaring, when our daughters don't have the same education and career opportunities as our sons, that affects our economy and our future as a nation. On the other hand, the proposal for a council for boys and men from a bipartisan group of academics and political leaders has now been languishing in Secretary of Education Arne Duncan's office for 2 years. Wow. 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 So there goes your Democratic Party, you know? So there's been a proposal to have a council of boys and men to help solve these issues in America, and it was sitting on the former education or the former Secretary of Education's table for 2 years, being ignored. Now we're in 2021, so I don't know. I don't know for sure if this council actually exists today. But at the time when this article was written in 2013, this council or this proposal for a council was sitting in the U.S. Secretary of Education's desk for 2 years, being ignored. When a proposal sits in a politician's desk for 2 years, that means it's being ignored, by the way. So something that's helping males are ignored, but yet you have Barack Obama speaking about the helping the education of women and girls. Okay, wow. Similarly, in Maine, the Portland Press Herald ran an alarming story about the educational deficits of boys, reporting that high school girls outnumber boys by almost a 2-to-1 ratio in top 10 senior rankings, that men earn about 38% of the bachelor's degrees awarded by the Maine's public universities. Damn, 38%? Damn. And that boys, both rich and poor, had fallen seriously behind their sisters. Damn. So 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 this academic underachievement of boys do not only go across racial lines, but it also go across economic lines. Because both the rich boys and poor boys are going through the same problem, which is un, which is poor performance in education. But the director of women's studies at the University of Southern Maine, Susan Feiner, expressed frustration over the sudden concern for boys. It is kind of ironic that another feminist, by the way, she says it is kind of ironic that a couple of years into a disparity between male and female attendance in college, it becomes, oh my God, we really need to look at this. The world is going to an end. Feiner's complaint is understandable, but seriously misguided. It was wrong to ignore women's educational needs for so long and cause for celebration when we turned our attention to meeting those needs. But turning the tables and neglecting boys is not the answer. Why not be fair to both? Exactly. Like I said before, counterbalance. Great Britain, Australia, and Canada are Western democracies, just as committed to gender equality as we are, yet they are seriously addressing their boy gap. If they can do it, so can we. All right. So yeah, man. Yeah. So Black Curls, he says, the women are actively sabotaging the men and then want to complain how men are too broke for them. Yeah, that's true. Systematically, you have these feminist groups that are trying to sabotage certain things that men are trying to pursue to help the betterment of boys. But guess what? Black Curls? Although your statement is true, the problem with a lot of males in America, especially a lot of so-called black males, is that we fail collectively to provide a strong counterbalance to the things to the things that feminists try to do. You know, we fail to collectively stand strong and counter the type of damage that feminists try to do to males. We're not, a lot of us are not properly organized, nor properly united, nor we properly fund ourselves to be politically active in order to actually fight these things that feminists try to do. Therefore, the feminists always wins. You know what I'm saying? You know? Yeah, yeah, Black Girl, sorry. I'm not gonna open a panel tonight. Sorry about that. I'm not gonna open a panel. I didn't even mean for this video to be this long. You know, we can sit there and complain about what females are trying to do to sabotage males. But the question is this: what are males doing to come together to counter this sabotaging? And that's what the manosphere is supposed to be about, right? Partially, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be about to counter the systemic mistreatment that males face and protect male interests in every area of activity. Yeah. So once again, this is another article that highlights the issues that's going on when it comes to the public education system and boys in general. You know, so we got a bigger problem in our hands. We have a bigger problem in our hands, and the future of America's boys is at stake. So we in this space, we should be focused more on these types of things instead of focusing on damn with like these high school like this high school like frivolous soap opera drama. But anyway, uh yeah, this yeah, I did this live for way too long. This is just another video I made to give you guys some food for thought. You know, well, black girls not only well, black girls all male schools is not really the solution. I mean, it's not an issue. I don't have an issue for there being all male schools, even though there are all male schools. The issue is the actual curriculums in a lot of these schools, and whether or not the school boards, the school districts, or the counties or the states of these schools would actually fund programs that'll keep its male students engaged, that would increase the chances of these male students uh, achieving in school. So it's more so to do with the curriculum that is being taught in these schools. Even though, like I said, I don't find no problem in having all male schools, but just having all male schools is not going to solve the issue. It's the curriculum, it's the system or the way that schools are being taught that needs to change for so males can progress. So once again, I hope I put some food for thought in your heads. You know, shit. We have to, like Mr. Research have stated in one of his latest videos. Shout outs to him, by the way, that we have to have a more advanced and much more intelligent conversations. And we in this space, we have to stop focusing on these low level topics. Like who somebody, like for example, who someone is sleeping around with, who someone is having an affair with, what someone is doing with their genital. Who cares about that shit? You got whole entire generations of boys in the United States that are entering a system that's failing them. Why are we focused on frivolous shit? Why are we focused on low level fucking topics? See, this shit that I'm talking about, what I just explained in this whole video is red pill knowledge. This is what the red pill is really all about. What's up, Iori? What's going on? Iori said a big part of it is that kids aren't being armed with the importance of getting into industries. Yeah, 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 Iori, that's true. That is true. Which is why I stated to black girls that it's not only having all male schools that's going to solve this issue. It's actually having a better curriculum that's going to keep boys engaged, and that curriculum have to revolve around getting a lot of male students, and teaching them the importance of getting into different industries, especially industries that's that are needed long term, when it comes to industries such as STEM or industries in the blue collar field. Yeah, they're not being armed, or they're not being taught the importance of these industries, because they're not being taught. The curriculum is not teaching them, or not given enough, not given enough programs in these schools for so they could be taught about these industries. So that's what I'm saying. The curriculum in a lot of these public schools needs to improve in order to get boys engaged, which would, based on the results given by Harvard University, which would increase the chances of boys excelling and graduating high school and going on to college and or other fields that would, have them have a better future economically. What did Mosman say? Mosman says we have to embrace the natural interest in our boys in high school, My mother shamed me for caring more about being on time for my band concerts, but not for the things that she wanted me to care for. Oh, well, let me read this over again. He said, in high school, my mother shamed me for caring more about being on time for my band concerts, but not for the things that she wanted me to care for. Okay. What she said she should have seen that as a sign to invest in my music talent. That is true. That is true. That is a good point. That is true. Yeah. Yeah. Parent. Yeah. Yeah. That Mosman, you make a good point. Parents, especially in the so-called black community or the lack thereof, they have to take a better time into understanding their children and focusing on what their children have a high interest in and what they're naturally good at. Because one thing I realize in so-called Black America, that a lot of parents don't understand, that don't even know, a lot of parents in Black America don't even know that their children are talented in a certain field. Like there's children that I've seen all my life, right? That are extremely talented in certain things. They could be talented, like maybe in the music field, musically, maybe talented when it comes to other forms of art, when it comes to painting, drawing, or what have you. And I recognize that talent, but the parents don't recognize shit. How could that be? A lot of parents in Black America are not paying more attention to their children's needs and wants and abilities. And I get it. A lot of parents in Black America work long shifts in order to provide for the family. But shit, you a parent, you chose to have kids, then you got to find that balance in order for you to be able to work and support for your family, but still be able to be at home and pay more attention to your children. So Mosman, you made a good point. you know pa- you know Parents need to recognize the talents of their children and invest more into these talents. you know Iori says the funding is piss poor to these types of programs for a reason. Yeah. Yeah, yes, exposure, yes. Big J XXX did say that Morehouse University is offering not a free program for black men, but reduced paid tuition for black male students to finish college. Yeah, yeah, Morehouse University is offering that. Yeah, a discount. Morehouse University is offering a discount to black male college students to finish up you know their college education. Yeah, but I know in states like here, like in New York State, ever since 2019, state funded college universities in New York State have free tuition. Like in New York State, there's something called SUNY schools, SUNY, which is an acronym that stands for the State University of New York. So there's different colleges that's part of the State University of New York. Ever since 2019, they give out free tuition. Students that live locally in the state don't have to pay for any tuition in order to enter these colleges. But the thing is that the students would have to live in the state of New York for a certain amount of time in order for them to be qualified to enter into the State University of New York colleges for free. So yeah. But once again, these are things that I hope would put some food for thoughts inside of the minds of a lot of people who's watching this. You guys have a very good night. I've talked for too long. You know. All right, y'all have a good night. Yeah, yeah, Wagner. We do need more black male teachers. Yes, Wagner. We do need more black male teachers to educate black males. Yes, but what we also need, like I said before, is an improvement or a change in the curriculum that is being taught in a lot of public schools in the United States. because okay, even though it would be good to have more black male teachers, uh, if the curriculum that are being taught do not change, then progress of black male students will still be an issue. So yeah, once again, you guys have a very good night. I'm done speaking. All right, peace.